Ayo, we made this. Ammo 7 did it again.
Welcome to another episode of Big Ego Media. I got another special guest today, goes by the name of Marc Cuban. How are you today?
I'm good.
You good?
Good.
Not too bad, not too bad. So you're a controversial character. So we're gonna get into it. Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, when I was saying that I'm gonna interview you, a lot of people were telling me, don't do it, don't do it. He doesn't deserve a platform. But we live in a world where there's a judge and jury, and someone can't just go to prosecution without someone having a defense. So it's good to give you a defense, but to see exactly what you're going to say about the situation. But before that, let's always start from the very beginning, which is tell us where you're from, where did you grow up?
Where I'm from, well, currently located in East. And where I grew up in South London, Bermondsey, Surrey Keys, downtown to be precise.
How was it growing up in South London?
Yeah, it was alright, man. Obviously, apart from the racism and stuff like that, but you get over that once you know what you're about. You don't really care.
So in your household, who kind of lived there? Was it mom, dad?
Fully functional, loving, caring home. Strict, but most African homes are like that.
What is your background?
I'm Nigerian.
Are you about Igbo?
Nah, I'm from Benin.
Benin, okay. I mean, was you born in the UK or was it somewhere you come over to?
Yeah, I've lived there all my life. I've had periods where I've lived abroad, but just for short times.
So how was kind of school and academics for you?
Academics was alright. You know, obviously you struggle trying to adjust yourself in certain areas just because you're still trying to find your strengths and your weaknesses. Academically, I was kind of good. Started slow and worked my way through all the way to uni level, you know.
I mean, you said your parents were strict. How so?
My dad's a very relaxed man, very loving and a fair person. My mum is the lion who always wants the sons and the rest of the children to do well. Sometimes it comes across as misunderstood, but nevertheless, that's who she is, and I love her for that.
So, kind of growing up, what was your kind of ambition? What did you want to do? What did you want to become?
I'm not even gonna lie, there was a lot of confusion when I was growing up. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just remember wanting to be a sportsman, so I was quite good at football, decent at rugby. Took a bit of a boxing path for some time, and obviously when it come to the crunch time, I kind of reverted back to rugby.
Yeah. So that's quite different because no one really was thinking about the rugby route.
Do you know what? It was rugby was it's because of the college I went to. I went to a college called St. Charles. I left SFX, St. Francis Xavier, after the first year of, I think I went there for, what did I go study again? Business management and graphics design. Didn't really like it there, but there, anybody that knows SFX would know that that's like kind of football academy college. It's kind of got the setup as an American like scholarship scheme. But after spending a year there, it wasn't really for me anymore. I kind of felt like it was very biased and favoritism. There was a lot of favoritism going on. So I decided to leave to go to another college called St. Charles, and it was there, I discovered, the talent I had, I guess, in rugby to an extent.
What secondary school did you go?
I went to Apostle, St. Thomas. So yeah, we played various sports there as well. A boys' school. So
my younger brother went to that school actually. So that's
really?
Like on Queen's Road in Peckham.
Yeah.
I mean, just talking about that area, South London, Bermondsey, Peckham, Southwark.
Yeah.
A lot of gangs, a lot of crime.
Crazy.
How did you manage to keep yourself away from that, if you did at all?
I'm not gonna lie, like growing up was tough. I mean, most of my cousins are all based up in, Birmingham. A lot of them are in Holland as well. And obviously most of them are in America, Houston. So being here kind of predominantly from a small but close family, it was very easy to kind of get swayed into things. So, and if you wasn't doing that, you was either fighting or you was being, you are the victim. So I spent a lot of my younger years as a teen fighting. Anybody that goes to STAC would know that, listen, that's where men are made. You had to defend yourself, you was around a lot of the street stuff, the youngers and all that kind of stuff, and people imposing themselves, to some degree grooming, if you want to call it that,
So, I mean, you're going to college. Did you finish college?
Yeah, I finished college, yeah.
Did you go to uni?
Yeah. Went to LCC, London College of Communication.
Okay, what did you study there?
Interior design and project management.
Okay. Did you complete and get your degree?
Yeah, I finished it 2-1. I repeated a year though.
Yeah, okay. I mean, so you got your degree, you finished, I'm assuming you're age 21 at the time.
No. I finished. So obviously because I finished, because I changed
college. Oh, you changed college.
Yeah. So I was the putback. I was a putback for a bit. So I finished uni at the age of 23.
23.
Yeah, 23, quite late.
So you're a 23-year-old man.
Yeah.
Just finished uni. What's the ambition now? What do you want to do? What do you want to become?
I'm not even gonna lie. At that age, I was very, very confused.
Yeah.
I tried to work within my field, but there were for certain reasons which would be scrutinized now. I didn't feel comfortable in that industry. I was given a good opportunity actually. I was working with a lot of independent companies abroad, dealing with interventions, renovations of existing spaces, and also kind of learning my trade. You have to learn your trade. It's not just all about the books and side of things. You have to be out there live and direct. Yeah.
So then what was the next kind of path you decided to do at the time?
I think, to be fair, like I said, I took a little pause. I just worked for a bit. Started working in recruitment, obviously within construction. So I used to kind of source laborers, skilled workers, just depending on the nature of the job or the contract we've been given. So I've worked with quite a lot of known established companies now, which I still have a bond with today.
Okay. So fast forward, there's a sensation that's called BackChat.
Yeah.
I'll have to admit, a great mind, which is Andy, created a show that kind of pulled a lot of people in. People started watching. How did you first kind of hear about BackChat in the first place?
I think when it broke through, everybody knew of it, right? I kind of didn't pay attention to it just because I kind of wasn't on that at that time. I think I was more into the clubbing side of things. And I happened to be walking past the TV one day, and there was a particular girl, I can't remember her name, who said something about black men or something like that, or dating someone who was black, and she was of the other race. I think she was kicked off eventually, and that caught my eye. So I started paying attention and watching the show, and I thought, you know what, some of these conversations they're having, I think I could tussle with a couple of them. I've always been someone who's quite opinionated, and feels like I've always got something to say. So yeah, I mean, listen, I'll take off my hat, man, salute. It was definitely one of a kind, and it set the pace for a lot of things out now.
Yeah, definitely. And how did you kind of apply and become a member? How did you join?
I asked, do you know what's mad? I asked one or two people that I won't mention their name just because I'm not trying to put you on the spot like that, but I asked one person particularly who I knew from the gym at them times, and she was, I think, very reluctant to kind of put me forward. I don't know, I think that was probably during the first season it had come out. Reflecting back on it now, I think I get it. Maybe she saw me as a threat, and then I asked another individual who was a guy, and he was a bit like, yeah, he's gonna help, completely aired me. And I just started to see a pattern, and I just thought, forget this. It was only when I spoke to a third person who's quite known now, actually, who's had his fair share of success. he put in a word for me and was like, you would be perfect for it, but let me see what I can do.
Did you have to do it on an audition? And once this guy put
do you know
his
what it
word
is?
in?
I didn't even get an audition, you know. I didn't go through what most of these people went through. I kind of felt like, I think after the success of season 1 and 2, I think it was, I think they needed to freshen things up. I think certain people had simmered down, characters had changed, and they needed something a bit new. So that's when I was contacted by, I think it's Andy or one of his management companies or whatever they were. We had a face-to-face meeting, almost like a psychoanalysis kind of meeting, kind of like now. They pitched this idea across to me, and they were like, look, you would be perfect, you know, be you. Like, you know, I remember them saying, and add 20%, you know, we want you to add 20% to it, because this is TV at the end of the day. Someone with no guidance at that time, you think to yourself, you're not thinking about the consequences, you're not thinking about what people are going to take to. All I remember thinking and hearing at the time is when I eventually got through is when I met some of the cast members, they were like, listen, be you, but just be mindful, because they had this favorite catchphrase, you'll find yourself at London Bridge contemplating. And I didn't get what that meant. I was just bare baffled. And it was only until I had my first, I call it, is it Friday and slip? You know, when you say something and you're like, shit. When I had my first Friday and slip moment, and I said something, I was like, damn, shit. And I remember running across to this guy and saying, look, yo, bro, you have to take that out. That's too much. He's like, no, it's content. And I was just like, oh, fuck. So when I felt my first form of backlash, I knew what time it was.
I mean, how was that for you? Like, having to say something, asking someone, oh, can you take off? And they're like, no, it's content.
I think it's kind of like, you know what it is, yeah? I get it from his perspective, but I do also feel like you need to give people that kind of chance. People, like, there's no aftercare. So when you're going through what you're going through, the best thing is, it's calm, it'll blow over, Nah. You know, people need to be prepared for the backlash, for the 2 pence here and there, people taking what you said here and taking it over there. And half of the time, no, not even half, majority of the time, 99% of the time, it's an exaggeration.
Yeah.
And you get angry. I've had moments where I'm like, what the hell is this? You know, they don't know me. What are they talking about? And I couldn't separate myself from reality, because you're so consumed by opinions.
I mean, did you like the fame at the time when people were coming up to you and seeing you?
I was kind of known already for 1 or 2 other things. I think that maybe, you know, when I reflect on it, and I've reflected in my later years, you know, that hunger of wanting to be known. Like, you know, I think that stems from my childhood. Because as a child, I was very much like skinny kid, didn't have the freshest kicks. You know, my mum and dad gave me what I needed, not what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? They did the best they can, and they put me through good school. I went to private school, you know, as a young kid, and or you can call it private school, but it's more like summer camp and all them kind of things. So from that, I kind of developed an urge to want to be seen, to want to be heard, because I kind of felt like I wasn't that cool kid. No one really wanted to fuck with me, if I can swear, sorry. So when I got the opportunity growing up, you know, I always wanted to be the captain. I was the captain of the football team, and then I wanted to be captain in the rugby team. I wanted to be that guy, you know, so I used to buy the flashiest boxing boots, the flashiest boxing gloves. Or even when it came to clothes, I just did anything to make sure I was wearing the freshest. Is that why you would say you kind of bulked up then? Because you're quickly steady guy. I bulked up in my later years. Obviously people were like, oh yeah, he's juiced up. It weren't juice, it was just, because I see a lot of stupid comments, oh yeah, his arms are bigger than his head, all that dumb stuff. It was more to do with the insecurity. I remember just thinking, maybe if I get big, people will notice me more. Or people won't mess with me anymore, you know? 'Cause, yeah, I was that kid that used to get bullied, but people learned very quickly I wasn't one to bully.
I mean, how was your relationship with women growing up in regards to, like, say, your mom?
I was rejected a lot. But my mum, listen, my mum was always going to be my mum. Don't worry, because you know. But let's be realistic, yeah. It's all good and well saying, yeah, oh, my mum was the most loving person when it came, understanding person when it came to relationship, but she wasn't in that aspect. She was very much like, why are you worrying about girls? Me and your dad came here for you to have a better life. Focus on what you need. The rest will come later. But as a kid, you don't understand that because you're not seeing future. You're seeing here and now. So, like I said, when girls really pay attention to me at them ages,
what did that do for your self-esteem? Like you're talking to girls?
It shattered me. And even more so because I got a little brother now who I love and adore. You know, and it's because there's 4 boys and 3 girls. So my youngest brother, you know, I got called into his school and he was having some confidence issues, you know, and there's a black teacher there who was Nigerian as well, but she was British born, was very, very understanding. So she called in a meeting for me and my mother to come in. And through that whole meeting, I just remember looking at my brother and seeing myself. Do you understand? And seeing he had no confidence, and that was due to the fact of, you know, he was fortunate. He went to a mixed school. I went to an all boys school, but he's almost just like he had no confidence to talk to girls. And when he did talk to girls, he didn't know how to. And as a result of that, you know how it can be very reckless. Girls would start teasing you. Guys will definitely bully you because you're like, oh, you ain't got no swag. And when I spoke to him in that meeting, you know, I told him, don't look at anybody else, forget mum, forget the teacher, talk to me. He started crying, he was just like, you know, I don't know how to talk, I'm confused. And that made me really sad because it was like, being the firstborn, I feel like it's hard because no one's there for you to kind of guide you and say, yo, this is what you're meant to do. Or talk to you in a mannerism that you will understand. So seeing the opportunity to do that with my little brother kind of redeemed my own shortcomings in that aspect.
I mean, so when was it then kind of your confidence kind of grew with women, and when did you say like, I started getting girls?
I think it was the first time I hit college, you know, because I just came fresh out of boys' school. St. Thomas is a boys' school. And when I hit college, that's a fact. I'll never forget, I had a sty on my eye. So these are the times when academic tracksuits were popping. So it's mad. Like I remember spending all my money that time on I had to go to, there's a place in Shepherd's Bush. Is it not Rimswell? Rimswell is in Oak Kent. There's another place in Shepherd's Bush Market which was known for all like, you know, the Bathing Ape trainers, you know, the Avrex jackets. They had everything that was American but was really influenced over here. So I remember spending all my last money on that mum gave me, and I bought this academic tracksuit and a Sean John hat and pulled it over my eye because I had a style. And when I got on the bus, I remember being unique. All my friends went to different schools, so I was on my own. And the guys that I'd followed through to college from my secondary school didn't want nothing to do with me. Because kind of that same energy followed through, like you were part of the gang, kind of thing. And then, yeah, like I said, I sat in the back of the bus, and then when we got off our stop to college, I got up and then all the girls started moving a bit weird, like whispering and you know. And that kind of gave me I was a bit confused, like, is this a joke? Like, what's this? And then it got mad. I think it just, when I hit college, the freshers, you know, you have freshers week kind of thing. Everyone's trying to find out what classes they've got. No one really went to class. Everyone was always in the canteen. And it was just mad. You know, I went to college with B Money, and well, that's the only person that some of you lot would know, but me and him used to clash. We clashed a couple of times, not fight-wise, just MC, like as a grind was the thing then, still is a thing now, but then I was on grind. So like I said, I always wanted to be noticed. So starting getting that attention from women was kind of like, it was like a thrill, something that I'd missed for so long. It was just so overwhelming, and I couldn't control myself. I didn't know how to behave.
I mean, we'll get onto things later, but do you think that has followed you through and has led to some of the kind of consequences now?
If I'm being totally honest with you, I definitely think it's had a significant part of how I've probably moved with women. Because unless you're taught, I know it sounds stupid. You know when people say, oh, be a man. What is a man? Apart from provide and all the other things, go to school, go to work, whatever.
There's no manual.
There's no manual. Everything is kind of fluke. You know, some people are born with a natural understanding. Some people have the pleasures of having that wisdom around them in certain aspects. It's not like my dad ever said to me, son, this is how you treat a woman. And sometimes you have to be honest with yourself as well. What you see at home can play a part in that. Big time. I'm not saying my dad was bad. My dad was fantastic. My mum's got degrees and she stayed at home. My dad was the provider, the sole provider. So seeing him and seeing that kind of kicked into my head. But it's also had the other effect, which was he wasn't always around to give his input on how to be a man in certain procedures.
Did you ever see the romantic side between them growing up? Or African parents don't really show that?
It's, I'm not gonna, sometimes I guess. Not all the time. But what is the perfect home?
I hear that. So, I mean, going back to BackChat, so, I mean, I didn't really watch it too much at the beginning. I'll watch some of the stuff that come up on socials and you see the viral moments. I guess there's another moment where you had this kind of, I think, led to some of your biggest backlashes when you had this big argument with, was it Nunu? I don't know how you pronounce it at the time. I mean, do you want to talk us through that? What went on and what your feelings are from now?
Nunu is someone that, before I'd seen this whole situation with myself, Nunu was someone that off camera, she's actually a nice girl. Proper nice, funny. I think she's probably the most beautiful out of all of them. And that's not even in a bad way. I just think in terms of aesthetics and she is an intelligent girl, but I think she also plays up. And it's the playing up that I now saw that once the camera's on, that girl, camera's on, she knows what it's game time. And that's how a lot of them were coached. That's the advantage that season 1 and 2 had. They were coached, they'd gone through their stuff. They'd gone through the backlash, they'd gone through the slip-ups. But now, coming in as a freshness, you're at a disadvantage already. Nobody's there. Oh yeah, it's cool, don't worry, you'll get over it.
I mean, when you look back at the footage though, of you and her, how does that make you feel?
It's not a representation of myself that I'm best pleased about. Because if you look at the message of what I was actually saying, that is overlooked by my actions or my aesthetics, or maybe the way I got up and the way I raised my voice. And it's unfortunate. And the only thing I was upset about was how Nunu had orchestrated the conversation to make it sound like I was using my size, my aesthetics, me as a person or a being, to control the situation that wasn't even needed. And what I mean by that is, we had been playing, the story, quick story behind that was we had all been playing around in the house that day between filming. And when the girls would talk rubbish or we would just be poking at each other. So me and a couple of the other guys were like, oh, you want to go in the pool? Like, and they used to laugh. So they would do stuff like hide our shoes, hide our boxes, things would go missing. And we used to do stuff like we would, when they're cooking, we'd take the food off the stove, take wigs off, or not off sometimes, but sometimes they would leave their wigs dry and we'll take it and dash it. Or they would be running around, passing it around to each other. And I think a few times it was playful. I mean, if someone said to me, I don't like this, I'm gonna stop. And Nunu had gone in the pool a couple of times. So we were just having a general conversation and Nunu tried to make it sound like I was aggressive or I was using my weight and my size as a form of intimidation. And I don't think that's fair. Because that's not me saying you're using your pussy or you're using your looks to sway the conversation. How does that even make sense? It makes sense in the sense of when people say aimless things, you get aimless responses. And maybe the way I responded to it, I could have just said, I'm not even talking to you no more. This conversation is done. But then someone will still have something to say. Because if I had said now, Nunu, what you said was really silly or really stupid, as I would say, I'm not having this conversation, good night. I walked off. I guarantee you someone would have said, look how dismissive he was. He didn't give her a chance to talk. He's a narcissist. How do you win? Or if I kept quiet and not responded at all, what would people have said then? oh, look at him. Does he think he's so superior that he can't even give her an answer? He's a misogynist. That's the kind of man I know, and that's a red flag right there. But what about, no matter what I did, not saying that how I dealt with it, because how I dealt with it is how I deal with it in normal life. I shut something down that I don't like and I take myself away. But what I'm trying to say is when other people are watching and viewing, there's always, you can't please everybody. And that is what TV is about. It's catching people in the moment for other people to have discussions on.
I guess the more thing was not say who was right or wrong. I guess inside the conversation, it was, I guess, in the manner of which voices were raised, how you stood up. And when you look back at that, how do you reflect on that particular thing? Is that something you would do again?
How do I reflect on it is that, personally speaking,
because your size is your size, right? But I guess at the same time, you have to take consideration of your size and your frame of being a man when you're kind of dealing with women in it's not your fault that you're a man or you're big, but at the same time, you have to look at that.
On reflection, you know, I look at that situation and think, you know what, I could have dealt with it differently. I'm not perfect. And it's unfortunate that things like that are captured because I can't explain myself. All I can say is that, you know, that is not the image of myself that I would like out there. And be rest assured, you know, that that is not how I handle things on a day-to-day basis. Do you understand? I'm a growing man, even at my big age now, I'm still learning. But raise your hand if you're the perfect article.
Have you ever had a conversation with Nunu after this?
No, I don't think there is any need to. I think she doesn't play a significant part in my life. If we ever came face to face, I would definitely extend my hand and say, you know what, Nunu, upon reflection, you know, like I never knew that that situation has affected you the way it has. And for that, I apologize. I'm not too big to apologize. Come on. What I didn't like, if she felt offended by that, she could have. We're not far away from each other. She knows my number, even if I've changed it. Me and Nunu have worked outside of BackChat on other projects. So clearly, I'm missing something, and this is why I say that was calculated, because when I was going through the backlash, she added her 2 pence because she wanted the limelight to be drawn to her, and that I don't respect.
I mean, back on this theme of BackChat then, someone that's, I mean, if you mention BackChat, there's a few people whose names
be remembered.
are kind of known. So one of the main people that's all kind of known is Esther. Esther is someone that was known to be fiery, someone who's meant to be but also entertaining. I think she always kind of stood up for men, I would say. And she got a lot of backlash because people call her a pick-me, but she was very a very entertaining girl and someone that is very cool. And I can never talk bad on Esther. But obviously you have a different sort of relationship with her that kind of came about.
My relation to her.
I mean, no, but wait, we'll get to it. But let's start with like, how did you first kind of meet Esther? How did you guys start talking?
I've always known Esther.
Okay.
I used to talk to Esther's cousin. So she, you know, I used to see Esther about at parties and stuff like that. Esther's like the girl that wants to be the life of the party. She's very loud, very energetic, and that's a good thing to have. She got good energy. You understand? How I met Esther. Do you know what's funny about this? Yeah, when I went to the when I went to the one-to-one with Andy, there was a particular girl there who I'm not going to mention her name. Kept on saying, is there anyone in the house you fancy? I was like, no, not really. Are you sure? What's your type? They kept on asking me, what's my type? And I just remember saying, you know what, yeah? I don't really have a type. I'm not gonna lie, at that time, I was kind of seeing someone. Do you understand? But it was like rocky stages. And if I'm being totally honest with you, Esther's not my usual type. She's a beautiful girl in her own rights, but she's not my usual. Like, she's not someone I would go for.
I mean, what is your usual type? Because you're saying she's a beautiful girl, which she is.
She is.
So, what is your type that she wouldn't be your type?
I know my type. I'm not gonna say it because I'm not here to shame or try
Is it personality wise? You mean?
I think it's more to do with a general package. There's a certain way, like as women will say, there's a certain way they like their men. As a man, there's a certain way I like my woman, and there was a lot of compromise from my side. A lot of compromise. Physically, she's like I said, she's not a bad looking woman. Character-wise, she has a lot of good traits, but there are some traits that that I overlooked and I shouldn't have. And I think down to the circumstance of how we met, I think that was an incubator to the situation.
Was it through BackChat?
Yeah. So we were abroad filming. Like I said, I was kind of in something, kind of back and forth with that particular person. And I think so was she. So was she. But kind of what happened is, I think when you're in a house, you know, you're looking at them, they're looking at you. My eyes wasn't focused on her or anyone for that matter. But her genuine kind of coming to check on me kind of thing when I was in my room, we all had private quarters. Would come to check on me about eating, that kind of stuff. She genuinely had this kind of caring character. And I kind of took notice to that. So we used to banter, we used to talk a lot. And I guess it was like flirting, harmless flirting. And people started picking up on that. Other people who, and they know who they are, try to, yeah, man, come on, I can see Esther, I got a thing. Like, me, I was like, yo, if that's what it's meant to be, it'll be that. But if it's not, don't force it. And there's a particular clip where they asked Esther, particularly, if I'm her type. And she was like, nah, he's not my type. Yuck, kind of thing. And I was just like, all right, cool. So we started talking or whatever. Nothing really happened when we were there. It was this kind of thing. But when we came back, I guess the closeness continued.
I mean, what I'm trying to understand is, right, you're kind of saying someone is not your type. And before that you mentioned, you said, oh, there's someone else in the house that you felt was the most kind of attractive. Why then did you not pursue that and try to speak to Esther?
I'm not gonna, for the purpose, because I don't know how to articulate it without getting criticized.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna answer that. Just because I think like there's no matter what I can say in that aspect, because you're right. Yes, there is someone, there were other people who I thought were more suited to me. Even if that makes me sound shallow, yeah? They were more suited to me, but she put in effort. Do you get it?
Did you put the same effort back in?
I can't lie. I liked the energy she was giving, so yeah, I did. It kind of became like, she was like chatty patty. She used to tell me, yeah, this is the situation, this is how you're gonna address this. And I used to see counsel in her. She used to see counsel in me, like, I'm not really feeling confident about this, you know? And she'd be like, oh, you don't worry about it, this is how you angle it, and vice versa. So we kind of already had our own secret friendship, but playing off to people that is nothing. Because I never like people in my business, so.
At which point then did it turn from just a close friendship and sharing secrets and talks and so on that became a relationship?
I think when we got back, it kind of just, just took off. We didn't really, I can't really call a specific time. Yeah.
I mean, in the good times, did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy the relationship?
She has qualities that made it what it was to a degree, but I can't outrightly say there was good times.
There's never any good times at all?
I'm not going to say there wasn't. I'm saying that she has qualities that made it the best it was, so it was okay. It wasn't like, oh my God, this is fantastic.
So why did you then decide to stay in something that is not fantastic?
Because you know what it was? Yeah? I think I was too much of a coward to call it for what it was. I I felt there was a lot of pressure as well for me to sustain this image of we were cool. I'm not saying like she was the worst person in the world to make me feel, but there was times when she did things that made me think, nah, I can't do this. You know, the constant coming back to me with gossip. I don't like stuff like that. I'm not going to repeat some of the things she said, but it became a very negative place. And then it was always things about people saying stuff to her about me. And I didn't like that. Why should I be feeling like the person that I'm talking to has always negative shit to say? But what I find quite funny is that I'll see her rolling with them same people. And when you're rolling with the people, you have to ask yourself questions like, yo, who's the problem here? Is it them or you? So there were times when people ask me stuff, I'll deny it. I'll say straight up, I don't talk to her. I'll deny it.
Was there pressures for you guys to go public with the relationship?
100%. 100%. And even people came with ideas for shows and stuff close to home, and they know who they are. Yeah, we want to do a show based on you and your Esther's problems, and I was like, yo, I don't even know if I want to be here still.
Why did you not have the confidence to tell someone I don't want to be in this?
I guess at that moment of time, I was still trying to figure it out. I was still trying to figure it out because, like I said, she had qualities that made me feel secure to some degree.
I mean, one of the things that was kind of spoken about when the kind of whole reveal came out was about how she feels that you was emotionally abusive and also financially abusive. Why would she say those things?
Do you know what it is, yeah? She knows, and when I say that and I look at the camera, you know what you did for me and I know what I did for you. And I think it's always funny that when things go left in any situation, people want to narrate it in the way they want to do to make them look best as possible. The amount of things she said she heard about me, bro, I had people telling me stuff about her too. But I never brought that to her. I never told her this person said that you came to them and borrowed money from them while you were talking to me. And anything I did hear that I think was relevant, I told her, and she couldn't handle it. It became a very, very bad place to be in. I don't want to say any words to be misquoted, nor do I want to give people any ammunition to start flying and tossing things around, because I take words very seriously. But she knows, and the reason I say she knows is because you can lie to one person and you can't lie to yourself. And that goes for everybody, including myself.
I mean, one of the things that was kind of brought to my attention from the back of me saying I was going to interview you was kind of many other women coming forward and saying, let me finish, and saying basically, well, oh, he done the same thing to me. He did this to me, he was that to me. So maybe 8 or 9 women that I had personally seen myself. I mean, how did you kind of counteract that?
Let me ask you this, yeah? We live in this thing where everybody, let me even cut straight to it. Show me one man or one woman that can bring their exes or somebody, not even exes, some people that they've been affiliated with that has positive things to say about them. They wouldn't be exes then. They wouldn't be exes. I'm not saying I'm perfect. Far from it. Some people have ended things badly because I was a man. I was being scummy. Or is it on the other side where I found out certain things about you where you've not been totally honest? Then I'm finding out certain men that I know have been where I've been. That would knock any man's confidence. So to some degree, I owe it to myself to be like, yo, hands up. If I've done wrong to you as a female, yeah, as a woman, as a lady, I apologize, but don't exaggerate. Don't exaggerate.
I mean, then how did Bianca come into play?
I'm going to try and remain respectful, yeah, as best as possible. Bianca, every woman has a right to be loved. Every human has a right to be loved. Bianca is an opportunist. Bianca jumped in, before even I started talking to her, Bianca was talking to a guy. I think she was in everyone's DMs. She's that person. If you go and look at her now, well, lie. If I'm lying, go and look at all the comments on Made You Think, Shea Bora. Before this whole incident kicked off, Bianca is the first one to talk there. Bianca's the same person that talks about, oh yeah, guys pay me £100 to take my number. Who takes pride in themselves saying that? But let me just keep it 100 with you. She was accessible. She was in my DMs. She was accessible. I wasn't really as loyal or as serious as I should have been with an individual. And I allowed that to happen. But it was more to the fact of to buy time until I could find out what I wanted to do.
I mean, when you was kind of living this double life, is that a kind of funny story when Esther's following you around?
I was just doing my own thing. I'll be honest with you, I'll put my hands up, yeah? And maybe I was wrong for this, yeah? There are times when people think they're in a relationship with you, but you know you're not in a relationship with them, but you lead them to think what they want to think. That is my fault, right? But I already tapped out of that situation. But like I keep on saying to you, because I was so cowardly, I wasn't the man that I am now or that I'm continuing to be, to say, you know what, this isn't working for me for various reasons. I don't have to shoot her character down and say, you do this, and that, right? I should have just been like, I just need to focus on me, or tell her whatever to make her feel like she's okay and the problem lies with me. It is not my job or responsibility to nurture somebody or tell them how to act towards me. It's either you are that person or you're not that person. Like I said, she has many positive traits that will make her a good wife to someone else. But for me, maybe my expectations are different. So I allowed myself, my eyes were everywhere. I did my thing.
I hear you. But I guess, I mean, one of the things I'm going to touch on quickly is that the moment when she said you're in her car, so she's driving around following you. Could you see her following you? Because it's a funny story. It's just following you in the car.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, when she's following you in the car, I mean, it's comical the way she's kind of explaining it. It's not even a laughing matter, really.
It's not a laughing matter because.
But what was going through your head when you see her following you and beeping, and what you trying to tell Bianca at the time?
This is why you're a bad man for this. You're actually not nice. I shit myself. I literally, you know, when my ghost or my spirit left, I lost all forms of concentration, and I shouldn't even be laughing, but what it was is I was on my way to a studio, funny enough, to film something, and Bianca, being the person that wants to be, oh, can I come? I said, all right, cool, come. Obviously, I know what I said to Esther, and I lied, and I did what I did to just make everything peaceful. By that time, things were not okay. Things were okay from a very, very long time ago, but it was me dragging it on. So I was doing the punishment to myself, and also probably punishing her for my negligence. But
Bianca was aware that
Bianca knew. So Bianca, there's things that Bianca has said, and this is why I think Esther's mad with me. You know, what people need to realize is that when you're talking to someone, or you're trying to get what you need, or you're trying to keep everybody calm, you say what you want to say. So I used to say to Bianca, nah, don't worry about Esther. Esther's just my bedroom. I used to just chat. Now, me and Esther, yes, we're doing things, but I'm leaving that situation. It's you that I want to be with. No, I didn't want to be with you either. Because anyone that can condone or be, I knew about her already, Bianca, from various different places. But when you're in that situation, you just want to do what you want to do. And you say what you need to say to keep everybody clean and sweet. So I lied, and I told certain things that weren't true, and I made, like I said, I'm man enough to admit that now. I told her, or gave her the confidence to feel reassured that it was more than it needed to be, which wasn't the case. So yes, I would message her and say, yeah, I like you. No, I was just doing what men do in that aspect, but I was sugarcoating it.
I mean, a lot of women will be watching this kind of thing.
They'll be angry, and I can appreciate that, and I understand that.
Well, I'm just kind of talking about like, so in terms of like future. Then, you saying that, telling a woman that she feels that, do you then now feel that could tarnish how women might see you now?
The game is the game. Like at that time, the game is the game. Girls do it, guys do it. There's no difference. I'm not trying to turn this into a battle of the sexes. Women are worse than men and men are worse than women. No, it is down to the individual and your traits and characteristics. My thing is, I made a bad decision on staying in a situation that I didn't need to be in. Yeah? And while doing that, I was being greedy. I was doing what I wanted to do. And I was moving lawless. But there were bare exaggerations. Moving forward, I mean, listen, like I said, you won't catch me in a relationship with someone who I don't want to be with, or in a setup with someone I don't want to be with. I keep it very, very kosher, straight. This is what I'm on, this is what I'm not on.
I mean, one other thing I want to touch on is that there's these kind of rumors that you are on Claire's Law.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
I mean, Claire's Law, for people that don't know, is for people who have the sort of violent exes or things like that. So, I mean, what is the situation on that?
Do you know what it is, yeah? When I first heard that, when Esther said that on her gram, her post, I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit like, what the hell? Like, Claire's Law, I didn't even know what that was. So much so that one of my friends called me like, you tell me you're in Claire's Law? I was like, what's Claire's Law? I had to go and look it up. I was like, why would she say something like that? And I know that she's probably not gonna say something that she doesn't, either she's lying or someone has said something stupid to her. Because she claims there's 18 girls that have come to her. Yeah? But not one can stand up. So the person or wherever this 18 or this Claire's Law has come from, prove it. I'm not on Claire's Law.
Has the police been in touch with you about anything at all?
Police have never been to my door. Police have never been to my door. Police have been to my door for other things, but that's nothing to do with this situation. Do you get it? I'm not gonna say I've never been in police. I'm not known to the police. Police know me for what they know me for, but not for that, for abuse, for any of that kind of whatever they're saying. I'm not known to the police for that.
I mean, what's, I guess, is the learning that you've come kind of got from this whole situation?
I'm sad that it's had to go this way. Because me and Esther were cool. Even when we stopped talking on that level, yeah, we were still kind of in communication for whatever reason we were in communication for. But I think it turned sour when the other individual started pouring stuff into her head. He said this about you, he said this about you. That would anger anybody.
And I mean,
especially when you're telling someone, he said he's gonna dash acid at me. Come on, that's wild.
I mean, one of the things I would say, which was also wild, which I was kind of disappointed when I heard you, was some of the voice notes, the aggressive manner, the aggressive tone.
Yeah. Still to this day, yeah. I've got a conversation. I could show you right now, innit? Yeah. I don't delete anything. I've got conversations going back to 2017, that's the last time, because of, iCloud. I've got a conversation where Bianca's shouting at me, right? I've got conversations, I've got videos of her charging at me with bottles after a night out. But I don't put things out like that. If I do stuff like that, I'll be seen as a misogynist and all these other nasty words that are affiliated with it, right? One thing I will say is, yes, it's me shouting, but you're missing the context. I'm not saying this, I'm proud of that. That was in a situation where we were going back and forth. I was angry at her for a particular reason, which she cut out, by the way. I made it look a different way. And she just put out voice notes of me shouting. But where's the context? Does it look like I'm just gonna pick up the phone and be like, da 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 da? Please put the whole thing in. If put the whole context in, say the stuff you were saying, the threats you were making. Am I ashamed of myself? Listening back to the voice notes, who wouldn't be? Of course I'm ashamed. Because it's not nice, you're thinking, wow, Nobody should be able to get me to that stage. That's where the disappointment comes from. No man, no woman, nobody should be able to take me out of my element to become something that I don't like. But you need to ask the same question, and I want people to think about this. I'm not perfect. I've never claimed to be perfect. I have sisters, I have a daughter. Yeah? And my thing is, if you're gonna claim that someone's gonna dash acid at you, the first thing I would tell my sisters, my daughter, go to the police. That man should be locked up. You know why? Because maybe him being locked up will give him a better understanding of the crime he's committed or making someone feel some type of way. You can't go and tell people that I tried to kidnap you. Kidnap who? You walked into my car because I asked you to come out for us to have a conversation. Kidnap is a serious allegation, right? Kidnap. Okay, so you got kidnapped, you got out of the car, and then you got back into the car. So how's that kidnap? There's so many holes in your story, but I would leave the people that actually have a bit of sense and I'm not biased, I'm not looking at me like, oh yeah, he did that. I want them to look at it and think, you know what? There's so many things that are missing that are not making sense. Don't believe everything that you hear or you see.
I mean, then I guess we then move on to this injunction that you have.
When this comes out,
some people are saying it's fake, some people are saying it's true, some people are saying...
Hold tight my barrister, hold tight my solicitor. Yeah? When this is done, the case will be done a couple of days from now. I'm not going to put a date on it because I don't want it in. Hopefully this will come out after that, right? All right, cool. So, pull it like this, yeah? The moment I said goodbye, because everybody thought I was going to kill myself, yeah? No. I was upset because the exaggeration and the lies were too much, right? The first thing I did is I called my solicitor. My solicitor was like, cool. Gather all these things that they've done. This is why people don't think. You went and put something on social media, no proof, no whatever. Bearing in mind, every individual that's been a part of this whole enterprise, I call it enterprise. I'm talking the Andes, I'm talking everybody. I've got conversations with all of you. I've got conversations with Andy, I've got conversations Bianca, I've got conversations with Esther. The other person, not important. People out there say, no, he didn't take Lani to court. I don't have nothing to say. If I did what I did, let the police come. That's a revenge porn, right? Let them come to that's a serious, serious crime. Let them come. I've been waiting, still waiting. And that confidence is not arrogance, it's confidence because I know what I did and what I did not do. The injunction is put on them is because nobody can go out there and talk rubbish about me, which is not true, and think they're gonna get away with it. You have an impact on people's perceptions. Like I said, I'm not perfect, but nobody has ever done what they've done. And then you've got someone that's facilitating it because of clicks and money. I'm monetizing it. Is that a good person? If these things happen to these ladies, like I said, they've got the right to express themselves, but express yourselves truthfully and in the right manner. If this person is such a caring person, why didn't he advise you to go to the police? But instead you said, come on, pull it on camera, let's make money out of it. And none of these girls are getting paid. He's getting paid though. So what does that say about him as a character? The list is long. Like I said it the other day. Hold tight Az, on Az's space. I made it very clear. I said, listen, he said he's been making controversial TV all his life. That's what sells. Okay, cool. But where does your morals come in? As a man, where does your morals come in? I don't want to hear, oh, like there's so much biasness. Bro, are you even clean yourself? You that's standing there pretending to be someone. Bro, I don't want to open the list from you. The reason I am known is because I say how I feel and I can back it up. You can say what you like about me as individuals here, but none of you are gonna, it doesn't affect me because you're not gonna say it in my face. Guaranteed. The internet is not real. It's full of people who are trying to be people to impress people. So the injunction was put there for them to stop it and to take this nonsense down. And I know what follows suit, which will happen on the date that needs to happen, which is in a few days.
I mean, even with the injunction, whether they take it down, would you say the damage has been done already? Like what can be done?
There's no damage done to me because I don't care. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for my child and my future children. People, like, you can't block me. What are you blocking me? Who are you to say you own this entertainment industry? I have my own opinions on why I think you did it. Maybe your career isn't doing so well. They say that every 2 years as a creative, you have to find a new avenue to rejuvenate yourself, reinvent yourself. But you're not going to do that on my name. My daughter, my son, my future children to come, I'm not going to be seeing that and say, is that my dad? No bloody way. Shoot bullets at me all day long, I'll take it. But I'm thinking about my child. I'm thinking about my future in that aspect. I work. I have my own things. I'm a creative myself. I've put everything on hold because I needed to tackle this. Do you understand? And there's also consequences to putting things out like that. And that will all be seen when it goes out. I don't make threats, I don't make promises, I make statements. So when people want to do what they're doing, just think about it. What did it really do? Or we want girls to stay away from him. Okay. Silly. If I'm such a bad person, I should be locked up, please.
So, I guess, what would you want people to take away from this interview?
I think for anybody that knows me, I don't really care what people take away from this, if I'm honest with you. Like, people have reached out to me for me to do the same thing that I'm doing now. But I will choose my destiny. I will choose where I go. I will choose who I speak to. Nobody can control that for me. You have done it in your own tribe, in your own circle. I also have my own tribe. I wasn't born by you, so I can't be stopped by you. That's just the way I see it. So what I want people to take from this is, for those who I might have offended, yeah? Because I have offended people along the way. I think I even offended you one time.
Definitely.
And you clapped back at me and I was like, whoa, it was just a compliment, it was just a comment, you know? But sometimes it's unintentional. And it's just a part of a growing process, growing pains. So for who I've offended out there, intentionally, unintentionally, I apologize. I'm a man trying to find my way. And what I want people to take from this is, I am not what they say I am, but that's for you to decide. In your own world, I'm good with myself. I'm humble. I'm calm. Inshallah, like, I'm good. You understand?
Would you ever consider therapy?
I've done my fair share of therapy, and I think it's subjective to who you are and why you're doing it. Some people go for therapy for the statement, oh, I've gone therapy. I've been therapy, I've changed therapists on two occasions, and it's nothing to do with women, it's more to do with trying to understand. But sometimes if you actually listen to yourself and talk to people, talk to friends, not yes men, talk to real people that will have your back. Sometimes that's the therapy you need. Because there's a saying, once a madman realizes he's mad, he's cured, because he identifies the problem. I identified my problem, which is I was afraid and ashamed of standing up and cutting my cloth according to my size. Like I said, I'm not going to stand here and slag anybody off. Their opinion is their opinion, but is it factual? That's the question. So, yes, it's a tight one still. It's a sticky one still, as Eddie would say.
Yeah, well, guys, that was Big Ego Media, and there was Marc Cuban.